Our next presentation is by Francis Deplace, and he's from DELPHIS, and will tell us what DELPHIS is.
Okay. Alors, ok. Donc je vais parler en français pour être plus.
And I will speak French.
Donc je demanderai à tout le monde de mettre ses écouteurs pour cette très longue présentation.
I'm going to make a very, very long presentation, be warned.
Merci. Donc voilà. Donc je vais vous présenter aujourd'hui.
I'm going to introduce a document which is quite of an importance. It's the basis upon which we made our joint declaration, the roadmap for development at European level. It's quite an important document because it contains all the different actions that the signatories of the joint declaration will undertake in their respective territories. So I'm going to give you a quick summary of this document. So we are speaking here about responsible housing, meaning, in a way, we speak about the corporate social responsibility, and it's quite clear that this is a new concept that we tried to translate into the reality of our organizations. This roadmap is still a draft. It will develop little by little on the basis of the reactions of those who will sign the joint declaration, the roadmap, or the code of conduct. As Barbara told you, it's only the end of the beginning and not the beginning of the end. And I'm going to show you to what extent this roadmap corresponds to the societal developments in terms of housing. So what are the 7 key messages in the roadmap? What was our source of inspiration? First message, the corporate social responsibility, it is not only what we are doing, it's also the way we are doing it. So you can produce responsible housing, but you can do it in an irresponsible way. So not only it's about the what, but also the how. The second key message is the fact that we focus on the importance to manage the impact of the socially responsible housing on the communities and on the way the stakeholders are organized. We are able to assess the value that we develop for all these organizations in our responsible housing project. And we are meant to develop a series of assessment tools. Third message, the roadmap on the corporate social responsibility or on responsible housing includes a series of values, some behaviors, and some beliefs relating to what we identify as our mission of general interest. In the same way as someone said it last week at another seminar, the objective of general interest of those organizations which are meant to develop responsible housing, it's something that cannot be negotiated. So we will be quite proactive in the way we develop our activities, and this will concern not only the organization itself, but also the activities carried out. The fourth message, which is quite important, and you should know that the document was drafted in the framework of a stakeholders forum, so it's a collaborative process that took place, and it led to an approach that mainstreams all these stakeholders, the tenants' organizations, but also the funders, the social landlords, and their national representatives. So this is a collective point of view. It is not the point of view of one single organization. That's why in the roadmap you will find phrasings or elements that correspond to all the different stakeholders. So there will be a sense of collective ownership. This morning we referred to the concept of empowerment, and it's important indeed to empower the different stakeholders, to build the capacities of the different stakeholders, especially in the world where funding runs down and where more and more things will have to be done by the local authorities. Message number 5 in the roadmap is quite clear. You cannot consider a responsible housing development if you don't aim at doing that at territorial level. You have to do that, do whatever you do to the benefit of the territory where you operate, meaning that it has to be personalized, individualized, according to the territory, to the region. It cannot be the same everywhere, even if the objective is the same, to produce responsible housing. The way it is done can be quite varied. Message number 6. Some freedom is given to the stakeholders, but message 6, for each individual organization, the CSR must impact the organization itself. So what's important is not only the what, but also the how. And it must aim at an objective of also an economic nature, meaning to develop a shared ownership. So it's different from the added value. It's the shared value. It's what you create as a value, not only for the stakeholders, but for all the stakeholders on one given territory. The 7th message is quite important because it will give you the framework around 5 pillars. Some were also already tackled this morning: environment, economy, the society and the communities, the territorial approach, governance. And there is an aspect we did not touch upon this morning, all that concerns human resources, which is quite important. We're going to speak about it this afternoon. I'm not going to anticipate on what will happen this afternoon, but these 5 pillars helped us designate the 5 award winners. On top of that, there are 6 priorities which are proposed in the framework of the roadmap, and it corresponds to 6 key priorities for the coming years. So, what are we going to do when we develop a responsible housing, and how can we show to the stakeholders that it is done in a responsible way? So first, on the implementation part, first, there is a need to explain what CSR is in the sector, even if the term is well known, maybe it is not so well understood concretely, meaning that the different stakeholders will have to promote a better understanding of responsible housing. What means responsible housing? There will be activities of awareness raising to be organized. There will be a contact point in each federation in order to promote this concept of a responsible housing. And there will be other instruments put into place. Secondly, we'll have also to promote an effective dialogue with the stakeholders and partnerships. Through this responsible housing approach, the concept itself is the result of a long discussion, long dialogue between partners, which will have to be furthered. Third axis, the operational support, the implementation of the CSR by the organization. It's not only a matter of strategy, it's also a matter of the impact of the CSR on the services provided to the tenants, to the inhabitants. And it will be quite important to develop some kind of an exchange platform in order to capitalize on our respective results. So these are the main objectives in this third priority. Fourth priority, assessment, monitoring, reporting, which is quite important, reporting the performance. Doing it the CSR way is good, showing it is even better. So reporting is important, and the framework that was proposed with the 5 pillars corresponds to a series of tools that are also proposed. And this objective of transparency and reporting and accountability is quite important in terms of how the providers will implement our joint declaration.
As we said in the morning, it's clear that in many countries the reporting procedure has an impact on the funding. And behind all this, you find impact and shared value assessment. So you need to share the impact on a territory. So it's important for all the stakeholders working together with you. So many works are in the pipeline. That's what we did in DELPHIS. We carried out a lot of activities, and that's the case in Canada, in Scotland, and so on. Different approaches are developed, and it's focused on shared value. And I think that we should better understand the shared value approach in the future so that we could promote the positive impact and the value created by housing on the territories. And it will be useful to optimize the value production. The last priority is quite obvious. It's visibility and recognition. Because if something has no visibility, it just vanishes. So you need to communicate in the member states what you do, the way you carry out your activities. You need some awareness raising of the organizations. You need to make them aware of the outputs and the awards we are going to give in the afternoon are part of an approach aiming at strengthening the visibility and recognition of CSR approaches aiming at developing a responsible housing. So that's it. And of course, this is a short presentation, And the roadmap is really relevant. It's important. All the stakeholders have been thinking for a long time on all the words. So use it, make it your Bible, because it's a roadmap that has been developed by the different stakeholders involved in the approach, and I thank them all. And a very last word, I'd like to thank the backbone of this work, Charlotte Lemousin, who's been working sometimes on Saturdays and Sundays to help out the partners to develop this roadmap and this declaration. So thank you very much to the staff. Thanks to Barbara, to Alice, who have contributed to the development of the documents, because these documents are outputs from people. Thank you very much.